Ron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Ron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron.
You done messed up, Ron.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm here once again with Andrew Gold. How you doing, Andrew?
All good, all good. We've just had a great half-hour chat, haven't we, on my channel? I was loving it, and it's been nice to see your face because it's been a couple of weeks because I've been a bit unwell, and I don't like to go more than a few days without a bit of Ron in my life.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling better. I hope we were able to get some of the people who, we just finished a 30-minute chat over on Andrew Gold's channel. For anyone not familiar, check it out on YouTube, On the Edge with Andrew Gold. Fantastic commentary over there. And so we're doing a bit of just a Scientology roundup here. But to finish off, were we in the middle of a conversation that we didn't quite finish over there? What were we talking about on your channel?
We were talking about... No, I think we would... You know what? We just asked a few Q&A questions by the end, didn't we?
Right.
L. Ron Hubbard's... The L stands for, wait for it, anyone who didn't get it from the other, was doing a bit of spoiler. I'm doing a bit of like YouTube, I'm a YouTuber now and I'm going, I'm going to tell you what it is. The L stands for dun, 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 Lafayette. What?
That's right.
Mind blown.
I mean, if your name was Lafayette Ron Hubbard, you'd probably go by Ron as well, right?
Well, the problem is because Ron, obviously this was back in what, the 50s or something. So Ron was probably, it sounded like being called Josh or something back then. But now Ron sounds like a name that's an old person's name. I don't know any young Rons.
When you say it's like being called Josh, in what way?
Josh is like Josh, Andrew, Aaron.
Like a normal
we
name.
we could be in the Backstreet Boys, right?
Well, here's what's weird.
Yeah.
His parents didn't even call him Lafayette. So why in the world they gave him a first name that they weren't going to use? I don't know.
Isn't Elron itself a name, like Elron, and that's from the Jetsons?
Elron. You think Elroy? I mean, Elroy's a name. I've never heard someone named Elron though. Like Scientologists don't call L. Ron Hubbard Elron. I'm not sure if people realize that, or some might not realize that.
That is interesting. But
like
even
I've seen people refer to him as Elron online, and I've never quite known if they were being intentionally derogatory or if they actually think that because the book says L. Ron Hubbard, that maybe people call him Elron. But if a Scientologist, if someone were to call him Elron, that would be considered very derogatory.
Wow. What is the history, by the way, but behind Ron? I've never asked you, what is going on there?
Oh, it's purely a comedy skit from the Key and Peele TV show, The Substitute Teacher.
The guy at the beginning, okay.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen the comedy, just search it on YouTube, Key and Peele, Substitute Teacher. It's hilarious. It's just a teacher he's a substitute teacher at a white school, basically, but he's a black teacher, and he's like, I taught school in the inner city for 20 years. Don't think about messing with me. And he starts doing roll call, and he says everyone's name incorrectly. So Jacqueline becomes Jaqueline, Blake becomes Balake, Timothy becomes Timothy, and Aaron becomes Aaron. And it's hilarious because no one's answering up to their names on the roll call, and they're like, that's not, my name's pronounced this way, and he thinks they're all messing with him because he's the substitute teacher. Okay. It's one of the best comedy skits I've ever seen outside of a David Chappelle skit. It's hilarious, and it cracks me up every single time.
That sounds good. Is AA1 also sounds like Elron? Is that coincidence?
That's never been part of the joke. That never even occurred to me. That never even
I assumed it was something to do like a mocking of Elron or something. AA1.
Did you?
Yeah.
No.
I wonder who else does.
That's actually, now I'm recontextualizing some of the comments that I've seen, and I think that might be something a lot of people have guessed.
AA Ron Hubbard, everyone's putting that.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to know as well, because I think I'm onto something when I was saying you don't get any Rons in the like young people nowadays. You don't get any Elrons or definitely Elroys, but Aaron and Andrew, I think we could be in the Backstreet Boys, right? Because Aaron was Aaron Carter. Unfortunately, he died recently, didn't he? Aaron Carter. But Aaron and Andrew could be Backstreet Boys. That's what I mean about like Josh and things like that. We'd all be in the back. But people put a one. I'm abusing the system now. Put a 1 in the thing if you think we could be in the Backstreet Boys. Put a 2 if you have a friend called Ron who's quite young.
You know,
Because
so the
those two
Backstreet
things
Boys
that
have been touring again, right? I don't think are any of them like full on bald now. I don't think
let me
so.
see. Would
They
you
all still
feel
have
like you relate?
they all still have gorgeous
It's-
heads of hair, I think.
Is that a thing in the bald community? And I talk about the bald community with fondness because of Larry David always talks about that. You know, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Sort of, he feels like bald people. Is it like you have to wait until they lose their hair till you can enjoy their music?
No, I don't discriminate. I don't discriminate.
Are they bald? I don't think
Although
so.
I do have
If they
a
were,
greater
they'd get.
appreciation for movie stars who adopt. I mean, Bruce Willis paved the way. He was a trailblazer for all of us. Okay.
Yeah, he was.
And then
He was.
Jason Statham, he was really on the cutting edge as well because he kept his hair grown out a little bit. You could see his little male pattern balding or whatever you call it. He didn't even go full bald like Bruce Willis did or shave the head. Now, The Rock is, of course, our standard bearer now. You know.
Yeah, it's interesting you're using these three and not Danny DeVito, for example. who I think you have more in common with, perhaps.
David Miscavige has more in common with Danny DeVito. You know, I wonder if David Miscavige has actually, you know, he has that big bouffant hairstyle. I wonder if that's actually a very sophisticated hairpiece, a la John Travolta before he came to terms with reality.
It probably is. If I were like a rich, famous person and I was losing my hair, I would definitely get the things. I mean, have you considered it?
You know, I haven't considered it only because I happen to have a pretty nicely shaped head, and I think the style fits me well. It also makes getting ready for anything incredibly easy and fast. You know, I can take a 2-minute shower. You know, I don't have to style my hair. I just put a little bit of beard balm in the beard, and I'm ready to walk out the door. But you know, I never actually even full on shaved my head before the lockdown. For some reason, during the lockdown, I was always so afraid to put a razor to my head. What I used to take is clippers, the hair clippers or whatever, and just not use an attachment. And I would just so basically as short as you can go without using a razor. But then sometime during the lockdowns in March 2020, I guess I was like, you know what? Let's give this razor thing a try and see how it goes. And it's worked out very well for me, I have to say. So no,
but
you know, he's probably got the best hair plugs or whatever you want to call them. Elon Musk looks pretty natural, don't you think? He was like balding in his 20s.
Those photos of him when he was younger. It's always the case, you know, all these famous people, even someone like David Beckham, obviously very handsome, but you see photos when he was like 19, he looked an absolute mess. He looks like most teenagers, he just look like, you know.
Oh, you know who else? Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, I'm going to look that up.
A man who's known for his luscious hair. That shit's fake.
Wow, no way.
Well, I mean, not like a wig, but look at the earlier photos of him back in the late 90s. Guy was completely balding, thinning massively.
This annoys me because hair is actually, it's like the one thing that I've got, like thick hair. Like I have nothing else. And it's the one thing I've got. And now like technology is caught up. And the one advantage I had, people can now just get that replaced.
Well, you are really
I hear
tall.
it's very
That's a good thing. Being tall helps.
I'm tall, but people can't see that on the thing. But you know, I'm told it is painful because they take your hairs out your back of your head and put them in your head. So that's painful.
Totally. So there's a few things on the Scientology Roundup agenda that we can talk about. But hold on, let me address this question. Can you talk about Priscilla Presley and O.J. Simpson's relationship? They dated about a year. Also, Danny Masterson will not appear in that new 90s TV show. I had not heard anything about Priscilla Presley and O.J. Simpson, although they both were in the Naked Gun movie. They were both in one of the Naked Gun sequels, right?
Oh, I don't
Priscilla
know.
Presley.
Before my time.
You didn't see the Naked Gun movies?
I think I saw them, but I was a kid. It's the guy from Airplane.
Leslie
Nielsen.
I think it might be a different. Yes. I think. What was the name of that actor? Leslie. Was it Leslie Nielsen?
Leslie Nielsen. Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, was he in Airplane? Anyway, yeah, he's the Naked Gun guy, and there was a few sequels, and Priscilla Presley was in one, and it was probably the same movie that OJ was in. I actually didn't know they dated, so I wish I could talk more about that. And I'd never heard anything about OJ, flirting with Scientology at all. I feel like that's something that I would have heard about if it had happened.
But Michael Jackson didn't he?
Well, he didn't flirt with Scientology so much as Lisa Marie Presley was trying to recruit him into Scientology. He never had any interest. I mean, what was he, a Jehovah's Witness, I think?
Yeah.
And so, in Mike Rinder's book, A Billion Years, he tells the story of touring Michael Jackson through one of Scientology's buildings in Hollywood, and how Michael was just an absolute freak, just an absolute off his gourd, paranoia, must have been on drugs or something. Mike doesn't say he was on drugs, but when he describes how he was acting, he was either just really insane or he was on drugs. But no, he never actually dabbled in Scientology at all.
But he turned up, didn't he? Yeah. So, I mean, that's quite interesting just to think of. I think, yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so I sent you a few things that we could chitty chat about, and I don't have them in front of me, but let me see.
Well, we were going to talk about Danny Masterson, weren't we? Because that case, for anyone who doesn't know, that was obviously he was doing bad things that YouTube won't like us saying to women, and then he got off, which was a bit of a shock to us or to some of us. But the Masterson jurors said Scientology was not a factor in the case.
Oh yeah, that is something that I wanted to comment on a bit, because in the coverage that I've seen of this has been interpreted in a negative way, and I actually took it the opposite. So so the lead juror, the jury foreman, did an interview with Tony Ortega on Chris Shelton's channel, and he said Scientology did not factor in really at all to their decision in the case. Tony and Chris seemed to take that negatively, but I took it positively, so I at least wanted to offer my spin on that, my interpretation.
Yeah, go on.
What they were saying is that, the fact that Scientology is the reason these victims took, in some cases, close to 20 years to come forward, was Scientology. And normally someone would look negatively upon that. I mean, I think it's fair to say that most people have a negative opinion about someone taking 20 years to come forward with an allegation of abuse. I mean, is that a fair thing to say? Like, people maybe look a little sideways at, it took you 20 years? Okay. And yet Scientology is the reason that it took 20 years. And what the juror foreman was saying, to my understanding, was we didn't hold that against them. The fact that Scientology caused these people to take almost 20 years to come forward is not something that influenced our decision, or the majority of jurors' decision, to want to acquit. We did not hold that against the victims. In fact, for the most part, we even stipulated that, yes, Scientology was the reason, and yes, we were okay with that. We understood, and we didn't hold that against them. For them to say, what would be the negative interpretation? The negative interpretation here would be, we did not care about what Scientology did to silence these victims or whatever. And I go, but that's not what anybody was on trial for. Like, Scientology trying to victim shame these women, gaslight them, prevent them from going to the authorities. That's not what was on trial. That's not what the jurors were being asked to rule on. So what's the negative interpretation here? Do you have any thoughts on this?
Well, the prosecution should have gone in with the cult aspect. I think that's what the negative interpretation might be.
But Danny's on trial for whether he did bad things to these women. What does here's my charitable opinion of the negative interpretation. I think the negative interpretation was that they wanted the jurors to understand how unlikely it would be for 3 Scientologists to falsely accuse another Scientologist of something like this.
Okay.
And there might be something to that, but that might be a bridge too far. Like, what's the prosecutor going to do? Sit there and make long-winded arguments about how unlikely it is that a Scientologist would accuse another Scientologist. Like, that's getting way too into the weeds. This trial isn't about Scientology. We might want it to be. We might love the ways in which Scientology gets brought into it. I certainly do. The more light gets shined on the abusive policies and practices of Scientology, the better. But we have to come to terms with the fact that Scientology is not on trial in this case. Danny Masterson is, and expecting the jurors to care an awful lot about how Scientologists think and all that, that might be a bridge too far. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was great that the jurors said we didn't really care about Scientology's role in this, because I took that to mean we did not hold it against the victims that Scientology caused them to take so long to come forward. Does that make sense? Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it does, mate. It does totally. I guess the other side is like, if it was the case that they were saying, look, why did it take them so long? Then you could use, the argument the other way. You can go, well, if they were to talk about Scientology, then it would be like, oh, okay, that would mitigate why it took them so long. It's because of the cult aspect, because of Scientology. Yeah. So I guess it can go either way, and would have to be
sure.
Yeah, it's not a red flag for me that they didn't mention it wasn't involved.
Exactly. So in fact, to be even more specific, I believe the language that he used was, we basically only considered everything that happened from the day they came forward to present. And we didn't fault the victims for anything that happened. We didn't hold anything against the victims for anything that happened prior to the day they came forward. I go, that sounds pretty darn fair to me.
Yeah.
So I just interpreted that in a positive way, and I just wanted to just comment on that. Other than that, there's really not much news to discuss on the Masterson thing. We're still waiting for the prosecution to officially announce whether they're going to retry him on these charges or whether they're going to dismiss the charges. I can tell you that some people I'm talking to who are close to the case think these charges are going to be dismissed. And man, that would suck. That would really suck. So look, there's nothing we can do or say that matters other than just waiting for the decision. I think January 10th is the next scheduled hearing. And I don't even know that the DA has to make up its mind by January 10th on whether they're going to retry this case or not. But, fingers crossed, we might hear in the next couple of weeks. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's funny because when I remember first hearing about the sort of hung jury and all this stuff, and when it was going to be retried, and I think it was January was touted. I remember thinking, God, that's so long. That's like years away. And that was only a few weeks ago, and that's only now in a few weeks. So hopefully we will get an answer to this.
I feel the exact same way.
But we don't know. We don't know if they'll put the victims through that again, and if they'll even have a better chance at getting him put away. So we'll have to see.
Yeah.
Well, there's other news that I think you and I wanted to talk about, which was Miscavige being on the run. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah. Yes. I just did a live stream about this about an hour ago. So, Miscavige is being sued civilly for various labor trafficking violations, and it's a really, really big deal. The lawsuit's been going on for 8 months now. He's been hiding from the process servers. The plaintiff's attorneys in this case have tried to serve Miscavige at no less than 11 different addresses that he's known to live and work, including the address on his damn driver's license. By the way, Miscavige's driver's license says that he's 6 feet tall.
Yeah, it doesn't. Shut up.
It does. Miscavige received 2 traffic violations here in Clearwater, and the affidavit or the motion that the plaintiff's attorneys filed with the court in the motion where they're asking for him to be served lists or includes a copy of the citation that says he's 6 feet tall.
Oh my God. Well, this is something we have to bring up, because we have made light of the fact occasionally that David Miscavige and Tom Cruise are on the short side. They're vertically challenged. And people have sometimes taken issue with that. They've sort of put in the comments, and they're right, because you shouldn't mock someone's immutable characteristics. You can't change them and all that stuff. However, I did come across a new study, some research by some Polish university in Wrocław that found that shorter people are more likely, this is generalized, we are generalizing, but they are more likely to have dark triad traits, which are psychopathy, Machiavellianism, and narcissism. And if you look at the world I've just done a video on this the other day. I looked at a lot of the dictators over the years, and I guess I won't list them off because it's just will get your channel in trouble or something, just hearing that many dictators in a row. But most of them were quite short, and that is not, because everyone will get angry now, and I know all the comments are going to be going, why are you having a go at short people? I go, no, I'm not having a go at short people, because 99% of them are well, not 99% actually, because a slightly high, and it makes sense. It's not about being short or tall, it's about how other people probably relate to you and how you feel in society. And if you feel, and what they found was, it wasn't short people per se, it was short people who wished they were taller had those traits. And David Miscavige,
what a study.
Yeah.
We're
So
not
David
studying
Miscavige,
short people. We're just studying short people who really wish they were taller.
do you wish you were taller? No, I'm fine. Right, out. We're only looking for ones who wish they were taller. No, they got them to, they got them to fill out this stuff. How tall are you? Blah, blah, blah. It was tall people as well in the study. And it was going, do you wish you were taller? Do you wish that? How tall are you? And the shorter people tended to have more of the narcissistic and psychopathic traits. So we shouldn't make fun. And we're not making fun, but, Well,
see, here's the thing. And I do appreciate people who are cautious in that regard. I don't make fun of short people. I make fun of David Miscavige for being short, because half the reason I'm on YouTube, guys, is to troll David Miscavige as hard as possible every single day. I mean, I take such pleasure and joy in trolling Miscavige that I'm very open and transparent about that. And Miscavige is sensitive about his height. And if I saw him at the grocery store, I would absolutely say something to him like, oh my God, you're so much shorter in person, just to get under his skin. But anyhow, I mean, I don't want to beat this to death. I don't, I made fun of one of Scientology's most senior justice officials is a man named Mike Ellis, and he's morbidly obese. And I think it's hilarious that the senior Scientology official responsible for justice is just a guy who can't stop himself from stuffing his face with a steel funnel and a spring-loaded push rod with sugar and bread all day long. I just find it hilarious. So I'm going to make fun of him for being giant, but I don't make fun of I don't make fun of big people. I don't,
this is turning into Erin and Andrew's bullying channel of hating people's. But no, I get what it's hard, isn't it? You want to you want to have a go at the person, not the thing, and
that's
life's
okay.
Hard.
That's okay. Hold on. We got a special fan request. If we get the likes up to 200, will you two, I'm sure it says, sing for us? No, I'm not going to sing, guys. I can't sing. I
would.
If for some reason I was on here like just drunk out of my mind, you could probably get me to do that. But otherwise, it's not happening.
Wait, are you not drunk? I thought we were supposed to be drunk.
That's the New Year's Eve special. Don't give it away.
Yeah, is that a batch? That's Red Hot Chili Peppers. Give it away now. I would sing usually, but because I've got this bad throat, But I'll always be up for karaoke and stuff.
Oh, do you do karaoke? See, I've never done it. You don't want to hear that.
I've never done it. I haven't done it in years.
Bobblehead, if you had one in the SP shop, but it would have to come bundled with a magnifying glass. We would also have to market that bobblehead as life size, and that comes with some legal hurdles that we would have to clear. No, we would definitely do a Miscavige bobblehead if it wasn't a violation to use his likeness to make money or something like that, because it would be hilarious. We could make a tiny little bobblehead with a tiny little body and a giant head. Like you'd almost have to reverse it. We'd make the head so big it would be really funny. Hold on,
just a small hurdle.
David Miscavige is sobbing at his computer right now. Yeah, he is. I'm not sure everyone's going to get the joke. David Miscavige is 5'1", or more popularly, what we call 4'13". And any reports that he's 5'3", that's with the lifts in his shoes. And, so yeah, it's just funny that, people hear of Miscavige just like beating up other Scientology executives, and they assume he's this big dude. That's why people are shocked to hear that he's so small, because you hear about him beating the tar out of these big guys. Mike Rinder's not a small guy. Marty Rathbun is, is actually quite a big guy. So anyway, that's why it's funny, guys. That's why it's funny. I think I got us totally diverted off of what we were talking about. We were talking about, Miscavige being on the run. Oh yeah. So Miscavige is avoiding process servers. And so here's why this came up recently. Scientology normally has a massive New Year's Eve celebration hosted by David Miscavige in Clearwater at Ruth Eckert Hall, which holds close to 3,000 people. And for the second or third year in a row now, Miscavige has canceled the International New Year's Eve event. And instead of doing a big New Year's Eve event live, he's just doing a local event in the auditorium of the local hotel, the Fort Harrison Hotel. And it's the same place where they hold their weekly graduation ceremony for people who finished courses in auditing that week. And so, this could be interpreted a couple different ways. I interpret it as Miscavige continuing to be afraid to make an appearance at a public event in a public venue, because he knows Dog the Bounty Hunter could descend upon him at any moment and serve him with papers. Now, Dog might not be a licensed process server in the state of Florida, but Miscavige is terrified of being served. By the way, Mark Headley lives near Dog the Bounty Hunter out in Castle Rock, Colorado, and he runs into him now and again, and he's going to talk to Dog about trying to do something on this David Miscavige thing, and there's no limit to what I would pay to see a special edition Dog the Bounty Hunter hunts down David Miscavige. Okay. So Miscavige, he cancels the New Year's Eve event. They're just doing a local event. And this is what I discussed in my live stream about an hour ago, is I'm trying to reach out to as many under the radar Scientologists as possible to give me their take on what is it that Scientologists are being told for why, almost 3 years now into this international virus problem that we experienced. I don't want to say the word. YouTube doesn't love the word. We're almost 3 years into this thing now, and Miscavige is still canceling all major international Scientology events. Wouldn't it be interesting to hear what they're being told the reason is? Because if they're being told the reason is to prevent the spread of the international scary virus, that's insane at this point in time. What country other than China is still trying to lock things down? Is there anything other than any place other than China trying to prevent the spread?
Not that I know of. No.
Yeah. So, he's still on the run. I mean, this really is just Miscavige not wanting to hold an event at Ruth Eckert Hall because they can try to control who enters the building, but they're limited in how well they can control it. Whereas when they hold this event in their own auditorium inside their own hotel, they can absolutely prevent any process servers from sneaking their way into the building. So you got this guy, who portrays himself as this charismatic macho man who is not afraid of anything. He single-handedly took down the IRS, Scientology's got the technology. You got to confront and shatter suppression wherever you find it and everything. And the guy's hiding like a sniveling coward in an auditorium of a hotel, afraid to show his face. It's really pathetic. And I guess it's starting to dawn on me that even Scientologists at this point have got to start to be coming around to realizing this is really sad and pathetic. The leader of they don't think it's a cult, but the leader of our cult is hiding inside of his hotel, afraid to show his face. Like, God, I mean, that's not very alpha, if you ask me.
I guess it does make sense for a cult to sort of capitalize on this whole thing and keep, it is a way. to speak to what some of the more paranoid people do think about governments, particularly a cult would do that, would, use something like this to instill fear in its members, and keep everyone a bit, obscure and opaque and not know what's going on. And, we still don't know where Shelley is. Well, maybe she's just, just hiding from that thing that you mentioned that we're not supposed to mention, that disease,
Yeah. And on this same subject, though, of Miscavige, being served. So the next hearing in the lawsuit, Miscavige is being personally sued for labor trafficking, his role in labor trafficking 3 former Sea Org members who worked on Scientology's cruise ship, the Free Winds. The next hearing in this case, specifically to address the subject of whether they're going to rule that Miscavige has been served, is scheduled for January 20th at 2 p.m. The hearing is going to be held over Zoom, which makes me hopeful that the public will be able to watch the hearing. Miscavige won't be at the hearing himself. His lawyer will be. But I can't wait to hear what arguments his lawyer comes up with for why they should not consider Miscavige served. Once I have the link to that Zoom event, assuming that I am able to get it, I'll publish it far and wide for everyone to join.
Wow.
Imagine we could have like thousands of people watching this event. I'm sure the courtroom's not used to that happening. But it would be a lot of fun. Oh boy, if I could live stream that. Oh my goodness, I'm going to try to live stream it. That would be
I want to get in on that action, mate.
Yeah. Well, all right. I mean, we've been going for 30 minutes. That's about what I had in mind. I don't want to ignore any questions, though. I hope I didn't miss any. I don't think that I did here. So we're good. Anything else you wanted to cover in the Scientology roundup?
Oh, I'm all good. I'm good. I'm just, you know what? I'm amazed I've even been able to hold up this hour. I feel a bit better, but just keep worrying that anything I say is going to suddenly turn into a horrible cough that nobody wants to hear. So.
Yeah, I mean, you sound pretty good. It's amazing that you've been able to. How long was the live stream that you did before hours on your channel? Was it a full hour?
What with you?
No. Before we did the 30
Oh,
minutes.
that wasn't a live stream. It wasn't. That was a premiere of a new episode.
Oh, I was trying not to bother you because I thought you were in the middle of a live stream. Okay, all right.
No, always bother me, Aaron. Always bother me. That was
hey, look,
another.
Poe on the go is with us. Hey, let me show everybody something here.
Okay.
Poe on the go. John Poe is a retired police chief from Luna Pier, Michigan, who I've been doing a lot of live streams with. And he's got a DIY crafting channel called Poe on the Go. And he made this with a laser and sent that to me. And he's also got...
Oh, look at that. He knows what he's doing, doesn't he? Bloody hell.
So I just returned, once I finished this wall, I returned my air compressor to Home Depot because I want to get a different one. So I need to get an air compressor. I need to get my compressor back so I can get these things up on the wall. So anyhow, thank you for that, John Poe. And for those of you in the chat, check out Poe on the Go. Check out his YouTube channel because it's pretty awesome. Okay, 2 quick questions here and then we'll wrap up. Do you know anything about a guy going into a Scientology building with a samurai sword and getting unalived? I do know a little thing about that. That's a crazy story. I know it's been reported extensively on over at the Underground Bunker blog, and maybe I'll actually do a video about that. That deserves its own video. But yeah, so I don't even know what you would search for. Like, what would you Google search? Google search Scientology Samurai Tony Ortega, and you'll find his reporting on that. I'll cover that in a later video. Let's see here. Now that you're over 100,000 subscribers, where's your verification badge? Without it, how do we know you're really Aaron Smith-Levin? There's no verification badge for people over 100,000.
Yes, there is.
A badge?
Oh, yeah. I think I told you this. You got to get your act together, mate. You should have, firstly, a verification. You should have a plaque as well. But there's also...
I have that.
Let's see.
Well, I can't move my camera. It's hanging on my wall behind me. You don't watch my videos anymore?
See, this is the thing, like, because my camera does this lovely blurring thing behind me. But I thought if I had a plaque, which I don't have because I've only got 50 7 something, whatever, you wouldn't see it anyway because of the blurry background. But it's such a nice thing to get, it must be. But you can apply for a tick as well, a verification tick.
Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, look at that. That is beautiful. You get that, but you also get a tick.
You'd think I already had to ask for this. I have to ask for the badge. But can't people just see by looking on your channel that you have 120,000 subscribers? What does the tick do?
Absolutely nothing, but it's just yet another little, it just makes you, I guess if you're commenting on someone else's channel or something like that, they would immediately see you've got a tick and it's like, oh, this is a big player in this game.
Oh, yeah. Uh-oh, we got another one. I guess they just don't want us to end this thing. I've worked security at Scientology events, even though being banned from their Facebook page for criticism. Really? That's fascinating. And what is that the symbol for the euro? Trying to figure out where he might be commenting.
Yeah, that's
from.
Euro, so it could be anywhere in
So we could be in Europe. Interesting. So you're banned from their Facebook page, but you've been hired for security. See, but someone like you is exactly why they're terrified, why Miscavige is terrified of appearing in public for a public event. Because someone like you could be hired for security and secretly be conspiring with a process server to let them in the back door. And that is what Miscavige is afraid of. Yeah.
I'm going to say that Liam is probably from Ireland because Liam's, yes, an English language name, but it's a euro there, so probably Ireland.
Okay, what does this comment mean?
My name, well, the Goldie, as in because my last name's Gold, and I go by Goldie, so the namesake is that. Thank you, Goldie. I used to be that, on the football pitch. Goldie. In fact, it was more that I wanted that to be my nickname, but it never was. So people would just be like, Andrew, give us the ball. And I'd be like, yeah, a lot of people are calling me Goldie these days. If you're, people are saying Goldie, Goldie boy, Goldie, and all that. And they're like, yeah, Andrew, can you just give us the ball?
That's a funny story because there's a video that I've been meaning to do. I got to get around to it. There's a guy who born and raised in the Sea Org, one of the few black Sea Org members.
Yeah.
And his name is Guillaume. He's named after a white Frenchman, okay? Yeah. And then once he left the Sea Org, he said, yeah, you can call me G. So everyone in the world knows you as Guillaume. And all of a sudden, you want people to call you G.
You know what the big irony there is that G, the letter G in French is pronounced J. Because J and G are like the wrong way round. So in French, G is J, and J in French is G, I think. So he should really be J.
Yeah. And anyway, he managed to convince, I just heard a really funny noise. He managed to convince all of his Scientology friends to call him G. So you couldn't get your friends to call you Goldie, but he convinced people to go from Guillaume to G.
Well, he's a Scientologist. He's quite intense.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. He's not in Scientology anymore. And I saw he did a podcast where he talked about his experience in Scientology. And every time he says the word Scientology in the podcast, they bleep it out. And I'm going to do a reaction. I'm going to do a reaction video to this. So, yeah.
What, in case it gets them like banned or something?
It doesn't make a damn bit of sense. It doesn't make a damn bit of sense.
Scientology is a great word to put. The only reason I can think to do that is because, and I'm sure you're getting this as well, and the viewers will be getting this, is you start to get loads of adverts, like ads for Scientology.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe if you kept bleeping it out, we wouldn't get those ads.
Yeah, so I got to tell you, all my viewers are getting commercials for Scientology, Grant Cardone, Top Gun, and some Dr. Eric Berg, vitamin supplements or whatever the hell.
Mine's more general cults as well, because it's not just signed to all the other cults. And so I'm getting ones that are just like, do you want to join a cult? We're a great one. Come and join our cult. Like all these random cults are advertising on my channel now. So it's scary.
All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us and indulging us. And I'm sorry we could not sing for you, but maybe next time we can at least get Andrew to sing. He can probably pull that off.
I'll be back. All right.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. We'll talk to you again soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, Oh, Nancy, my love. Then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.